Hey there everybody, and welcome to the channel. I'm your host, Rama, and in today's video, I'll be breaking into the 10 best beginner vehicles to get your hands on in Grand Theft Auto Online. Being a beginner is tough, and especially getting vehicles from going to point A to B can be a very tricky thing. So hopefully the vehicles I'm going to talk about here might just pique your interest, especially if you want some good armored capabilities, speed, and overall mode of transport. Starting off, in the number 10 position, we have the vehicle I'm currently driving, which is the Pisswasser Dominator. To get your hands on this vehicle, it is very basic. You're going to go over to Travel and Transport, Southern San Andreas, and you're going to sort by price until you get the cheapest, although we actually have to go to two-door. Then you can sort by price, and we can see the Pisswasser Dominator right here. It's free. Any player on any console, PC, platform can get their hands on this vehicle. And it's actually one of the best and, in my opinion, most underrated muscle cars in the game. It features within the top 10 of handling and top speed, going over 126 miles per hour, which is actually kind of crazy. It might actually be the fastest vehicle in the entirety of today's video when it comes to the list, apart from a flying vehicle, which is kind of crazy. So yeah, the Pisswasser Dominator, being free and incredibly fast, is an absolute dub. And it's a really rare vehicle that a lot of people completely underrate in my personal opinion. So because of that, this vehicle makes it into the number 10 position. The only reason it doesn't get any higher is because there's nothing really special about it. It doesn't have much customization. It's just a really fast muscle car. So if you're ever planning to go from point A to point B on the streets, this is a really good option. In the number 9 position, we arrive to the Mesa. This is one of my favorite off-roading vehicles in the game. First of all, I mean, it just looks epic. Jeeps are cool, and they look so cool when you put them with a lift kit and off-roading capabilities. I've actually done my fair share of off-roading in Jeeps in real life. It's epic, and it's crazy what these vehicles can do once you kit them out. And this vehicle is actually incredibly easy to get your hands on. You see, Rockstar removed it from the game, but they didn't remove it from being able to get put in your garage. You just can't purchase it on the website, but that's easy to bypass. You'll notice calling Merryweather, I have an option called Call Mercenaries, and this option will allow me to call Merryweather Mercenaries on any players in a public lobby. All you need to do is call Mercenaries on someone, and then once the Mercenaries spawn, kill them, or wait for that player to kill the Mercenaries, and then just take one of the Jeeps, go bring it over to your garage, and congratulations, now it's your Jeep. So basically for $8,000 you can get your hands on this off-roading vehicle. It's incredibly fun to mess around with, it's great on off-roading, and it's just a really fun vehicle in general, so I would definitely recommend to get your hands on it. This is the Elegy, and it's based off of a lot of people's favorite sports car, the Nissan GT-R. I think Rockstar did a great job immortalizing it in GTA. It looks amazing, and it's a really fun vehicle to drive. Not only does it still feature one of the better lap times in the sports category, but it also has a decent top speed upwards of 120 miles per hour. So it's really fun to drive, it's got great handling, and it looks amazing. In my opinion, it checks all the boxes. And while it doesn't feature any modern liveries or crazy customization going for it, you can still make this vehicle unique, and I just absolutely love the look. A lot of people don't mess around with this car because A, they don't even know that much about it, but it's also because of the fact people think cars that are free just aren't very good. But that's completely wrong. When this car was first introduced into Grand Theft Auto Online, it was everywhere because it dominated racing. And the only reason you don't see it nowadays is probably down to the fact that there's a lot better cars like the OCElot Virtue. But if you're a new player, this is an absolutely amazing purchase. It's free. Why would you say no? Making our way over to the internet, we can see on Travel and Transport, Benny's Original Motor Works. And this is actually where you'll find the car. If you scroll a bit on Benny's, you will eventually see this vehicle right here, the LEG RH8, for free. And what's even cooler is you can upgrade it into the LEG Retro Custom, which is a Skyline GTR, and I mean, who doesn't love that vehicle? So yeah, I actually think the LEG is an amazing purchase, and it's definitely worth the keep in your garage. I've had this vehicle since the beginning of my GTA account here, and I drive it all the time. It's just super fun, and it's an incredibly nice looking vehicle. In the number 7 position, we have one of my favorite new vehicles added into the game, this beast of a truck, the Acid Lab. Why is this vehicle so good? Well, first of all, it's actually surprisingly fast, going over 100 miles per hour. We can see here, this thing is tanking along pretty dang quickly. but it's also the fact that this vehicle has a crazy amount of armor, being able to survive upwards of 50 plus homing missiles. Essentially, nobody's going to be able to take you out. You can have an Oppressor Mark II, you can have an F-160 ride you. It doesn't matter what's chasing you. You're not going to get blown up in this vehicle. The chance of you dying is actually less than probably being in an Amani Tech car, which shows just how crazy the Acid Lab's protection is. And even better than that, the frontal glass on this vehicle is semi-bulletproof. What I mean by that is it will take around 20 rifle rounds to cut through the glass. We can see that here, shooting at it. It does not cut through the glass until you keep shooting it and shooting it and shooting it. Now, obviously, if you pull out a minigun, you'll cut through, but still, it's just that added bit of protection that will keep you alive. When you pair that into the fact that the Acid Lab also doesn't really care what's in front of it. Big old truck in front, no problem. Out of my way. No issues whatsoever there. The best part about this business is it is also able to make money. It's an Acid Lab, and because of that, it's a passive business. You'll earn around $60,000 to $70,000 every hour when you have this running in the background. And it has no possibility of being raided whatsoever. Holy crap, we obliterated that car. So yeah, the Acid Lab is really just amazing in every single area. I have no bad things to say about this property. And the best thing about the Acid Lab is also the fact that you can get it for free. That's the best part. You can participate in the first dose missions for Dax, and you will get your hands on this vehicle for free. And that's why it makes it into the best beginner list. If it wasn't free, then I wouldn't say it's good. But you do the first dose missions, you get your hands on the Acid Lab, and you also get around $500,000 to bank. It's just a great vehicle, especially if you want to drive around and feel like you're indestructible. Keeping in line with big trucks, we arrive to the Pounder Custom. This is probably one of the best weaponized beginner vehicles in the game. I will probably have a separate video talking about weaponized beginner vehicles, but this truck is insane. Sure, it's not the fastest, and it doesn't feature any armor. It looks like it features a lot of armor, but you can literally blow this thing up with one sticky bomb. So why is it dangerous? Well, it's because of the fact it has a remote missile battery, and this thing is insane. It can spam missiles in the air with no issues whatsoever, and that is kind of crazy. The fact that as a level 1 you can get this level of firepower is it's ridiculous. In fact, I think this is the only vehicle in the game that features a missile battery that you can actually use as the driver. So yeah, this thing's pretty easy to take care of. However, if you're trying to complete missions or deal with a threat in front of you, I can tell you for a fact that the Pounder Custom will get the job done. I've actually used it when dealing with a lot of griefers in the past when doing sale missions, and it is absolutely hilarious to watch them get blown up by the missile battery. So I would definitely recommend to get your hands on the Pounder Custom. Now, to get this vehicle, you do need to own a nightclub, but as I made a previous video talking about, the nightclub is a fantastic beginner business and way better than you'd think. Not only that, but as well, the Pounder is very cheap to get your hands on. It's only about $200,000 to purchase on Warstock, and once you get it, it's only about $500,000 to upgrade every single weapon on it. That's really cheap in general. When you pair that with the fact you can get all the upgrades unlocked as a level 1, yeah, I think the Pounder is actually super, super underrated. Out of the Pounder, we arrive to the Vapid Speedo Custom. This is an absolutely crazy little van. First of all, you can see that we have a remote minigun on it. And this minigun does a lot of damage. Basically, anything in front of you is prime target to absolutely demolish. This alone puts the Vapid Speedo Custom on par with something like the weaponized Tampa. The difference is you don't need any unlocks to get your hands on the Vapid Speedo Custom. Once you own a nightclub, you get this vehicle for free with the property. And to upgrade it, you can do it right as a level 1. It'll be about $500,000. So not only are you purchasing a nightclub, which is a great business and will earn you basically all the money back in about a couple hours of playing, but then you get your hands on the Speedo Custom, which is just crazy good because of the fact that it has that remote minigun. I should also mention it has proximity mines, and these proximity mines, well, yeah, they're pretty dangerous. These aren't those kind of lame slick mines or sticky mines. These will blow you up just like any other explosion, which is also amazing. The Vapid Speedo Custom is just an absolute dub. Oh, and I should also mention the armor on this vehicle actually works. It's very rare that Rockstar adds armor plating that works, but as we can see, shooting this panel in the center or shooting these little metal, bars in the center here actually count as armor. And if you squeeze the shots even in between, this glass is still semi-bulletproof. So, yeah, the Vapid Speedo Custom is amazing for missions. Its remote minigun is fantastic. It is by far one of the best beginner purchases you can make in the game, and it's one of the major reasons I already own a nightclub on my new Rags to Riches account. In the number 4 position, we have the Armored Karuma. This is always going to make every single beginner list I make. I don't even care if it gets repetitive to people. This is just always going to be one of the best beginner vehicles. First of all, it's cheap. It's only about $525,000 on, I think it's Southern San Andreas, but it might be Warstock. Either way, it's only $500,000. And we can see that I am sitting in front of cops here, and they are absolutely blasting me with their pistols, but it doesn't matter. Let me drive over to all these cops over here. Let's see if we take a single bit of damage. You'll notice that even though it looks like the glass is being shot through, it doesn't really matter. The glass is completely bulletproof. There are tiny positions here and there where you will take a little bit of damage, and I don't know why. I think it's a bug. But yes, you can take a slight amount of damage while using this vehicle. But as you'll notice, it is such a small amount of damage that you will never die. All you need to do is if you get shot to a little bit of low health, you put on some P's and Q's and there you go, you're back up to full HP. There is no other vehicle in the game that can do what I'm doing here. Yes, there are a lot of well-armored vehicles, and there's actually one that we'll be talking about in just a moment. But in terms of sheer protection from bullets, the Armored Karuma is unfazed. It is absolutely incredible. In the number 3 position, we arrive to the Doco Death. I love this vehicle. I think it looks so incredibly menacing, and you can get your hands on it for absolutely free, as we can see, on Warstock, Cash, and Carry. The thing that I always find interesting about the Duke is even though it does have armor that you can cut through, you'll notice that there's a slit right where my head is, and cops can shoot that slit. But first of all, we got this big engine block in front of my vehicle. So if you're aiming at the car at this angle here, as we can see, I'm actually completely protected. It's only if you're looking at this angle that you can start to damage the Doco Death. But even then, it's very, very hard for NPCs to actually shoot you in this car, and as long as you're just moving a little bit, you'll be completely fine. The other things about the Doco Death that I love, first of all, it's fast. It's actually faster than the Armored Karuma. It's a very, very maneuverable vehicle, which is quite nice. And it's heavy. Very, very heavy. So if you have a car in front of you, boom, you can send that car flying in the other direction of the road. This is great. It means that if anybody ever tries to stop you while you're driving, whether it's a griefer or it's cops just getting in your way, they're not going to slow you down where, if you're in an Armored Karuma, you might get stopped a little bit. It's not going to really bother you, but it's still annoying to get slowed down. I love that you don't need to worry about that with the Doco Death. Plus, I mean, this vehicle just looks absolutely sick. It's one of my favorite looking muscle cars in the game. It's so clean. When you pair all this with the fact that it's free, I mean, it just has to be higher than the Armored Karuma in my opinion. Any vehicle that's free is always going to be a better option. So let me know what you guys think in the comments down below, the Karuma or the Duke. I've made videos comparing the two, but I think I like this better. And it's an absolutely amazing beginner vehicle to get your hands on. Would highly recommend to pair this with getting your hands on the Auto Shop. The Auto Shop mainly so that you can upgrade this car. That's actually what I did on my Rags to Riches account already within the first couple days of playing on it. In the number 2 position, we arrive at the Western Rogue, which, in my opinion, is one of the best aircraft in the game, and especially for a beginner. Let's start off with getting your hands on the Rogue. It's going to cost you, at cheapest, around $2.2 million, at most expensive, around $5 million, but that's really if you just want to waste money. To get your hands on the Rogue, you need a hangar. The cheapest hangars are in the LSIA area, which is hangar A17 for $1.2 or $1.5 million for hangar 1. However, there are also hangars which are located all the way at Fort Zancudo. I would recommend to buy Fort Zancudo Hangar 3497. Getting a $3.2 million hangar or $2.6 million hangar that does the exact same thing and is in the literal exact same location as this hangar here is just a waste of money. And if you buy these other hangars, you are literally just flat wasting money. I think this hangar is around $2 million and it is definitely worth the price tag. The reason why I would recommend to get the more expensive hangar is, first of all, if you plan on doing hangar cargo missions, it's better to have your hangar located in the center of the map, because if you're flying anywhere, it's a lot easier to go to where that mission is located. The other reason getting a hangar there is really good, especially in Fort Zancudo, is because of the fact you have low-level clearance inside of the military base. This means that you can go in the military whenever you want, and most specifically, steal a laser. You can steal a jet, which already is super fast, features an explosive machine gun and is incredibly maneuverable. So literally, you can just buy a hanger and already have a super dangerous weapon if you just steal the laser and leave the military base. So that alone makes buying one of the hangars inside the military insane. But when you pair that with the fact that you can get the Rogue, yeah, this is where things start cooking. The Rogue is around $1 million, which is very cheap when you realize that it is the third fastest flying aircraft in the game at 220 miles per hour, only slightly beaten out by the Pyro and then the F-160 Raiju. When you pair that with the fact this vehicle features flares, it has homing missiles, and it features an explosive machine gun which will easily deal with anything in front of you, then yeah, it's kind of insane. It also can survive upwards of 4 homing missiles before being blown up. Yeah, the Rogue is incredible. It's fast, it's maneuverable, it's got resistance to explosions, and it's great at dogfighting. It is easily one of the best aircraft in the game. I think that the only aircraft that beats the Rogue right now is the F-160 Raiju. Apart from that, I would still say this is the best, and it's absolutely S+ tier. So I would recommend to get your hands on the Rogue. Oh, and one other thing I forgot to mention, it actually features bombs, which you wouldn't even think, but yep, it does feature bombs, which is really interesting and allows it to be even more dangerous. So yeah, get your hands on the Rogue. Let's break into the last vehicle for today's video. In the number 1 position, we have a vehicle I've talked about many times on the channel, and I will continue to as long as it stays as good as it is, the OCElot Virtue. This is an incredible supercar for many different reasons. Let's first of all talk about how to get your hands on it, which is for free. You can get your hands on the Virtue by simply completing the last dose missions for DAX. We talked earlier about the first dose missions and how you can get your acid lab. Well, after you've gotten your acid lab, if you continue doing missions for DAX, you'll get your hands on the OCElot Virtue. This is a $3 million hypercar, and it's kind of incredible. First of all, it's fast. We can see the acceleration on this vehicle. It is one of the fastest accelerating things in the game. And because of that, it has incredible lap time, making it in the top 10 fastest supercars in terms of lap time. And sure, it's not the fastest. It only goes 120 miles per hour, but it always stays at 120 miles per hour, which is not the case for a lot of other supercars. So because of that, the Virtue is quite incredible on overall maneuverability. Anybody that owns the car knows how fun it is to drive and mess around with. Gets even better. The Virtue has Amani Tech capabilities. Now, you do need to own an agency to get Amani Tech capabilities, which is going to cost you around $2.2 million at the cheapest. And you need to own the armory, or not the armory, but the upgrade shop, which is another $800,000. So you're looking at $3 million to get your hands on the agency. But I can tell you for a fact that getting your hands on the upgrade shop for vehicles is 100% worth it, mainly down to the fact you get Amani Tech cars. Amani Tech vehicles are able to survive upwards of 10 RPGs. They are able to survive some with bulletproof glass. Others have really, really good resistance to other things. In general, Amani Tech cars are amazing because you will never be killed while driving them. And the best part about all Amani Tech vehicles is that you can put missile lock on jammers, meaning that you can't even be homed on by any missiles whatsoever. Oh, and I should also mention you have proximity mines. These mines aren't anything crazy, they're just slick mines, but it's still nice that you can slow people down that are chasing you. The Virtue, in my opinion, is still S tier when it comes to Amani Tech cars. I would put it right up there next to the Buffalo STX. It's just an incredible vehicle, and that's why it makes it into the number 1 position. Even if you don't own the agency, just getting your hands on the Virtue is great. It's a supercar, and it's a great supercar at that. And you can still upgrade it if you own the auto shop as a level 1. So that's my advice for the best beginner buys and picks in GTA Online. I tried to keep the list as cheap as possible. You could purchase every single thing that I talked about in today's video for probably close to about $1 to $2 million all combined, which is kind of crazy. I guess if you add on the businesses, it's probably closer to $5-6 million, but that's still not that expensive when you think about everything considered. I'll see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.